Imagine waking up to the smell of smoke, not the cozy scent of a fireplace, but something wrong, something dangerous. You rush to your window and see flames dancing across rooftops like demons celebrating. This isn't a nightmare. This is London, September 2nd, 1666. And what started as one baker's careless moment is about to become the most destructive fire in English history. Section 1. The spark that started everything. It's just past midnight on Pudding Lane. Thomas Farriner, the king's own baker, thinks he's put out his ovens for the night. But deep in the ashes, one tiny ember refuses to die. By 1 a.m., that stubborn spark has found kindling. By 2 a.m., Farriner's house is ablaze. The baker and his family barely escape through an upstairs window. But their maid, trapped by fear, becomes the fire's first victim. Now here's where the story gets interesting. And by interesting, I mean catastrophically worse. London in 1666 wasn't the city we know today. Picture wooden houses leaning so far over narrow streets that neighbors could shake hands from their upper windows. These medieval jetties created perfect fire highways. And the summer of 1666 had been brutally dry. When the fire reached the Star Inn on Fish Street Hill, it found hay, straw, and terrified horses. The flames leaped from building to building like an excited child jumping on stepping stones. Except these stepping stones were people's homes, their livelihoods, their entire world. By dawn, the Lord Mayor Sir Thomas Bloodworth arrives to assess the situation. He takes one look at the growing blaze and makes perhaps the most famous understatement in London's history. A woman could piss it out. Bloodworth refuses to authorize the destruction of houses to create fire breaks, worried about compensation costs. As he walks away, dismissing the danger, London's fate is sealed. Because sometimes the most devastating disasters begin not with malice or natural catastrophe, but with simple human stubbornness. Section 2. When medieval London burned. By Sunday morning, the fire has found its true feast. Thames Street, lined with warehouses full of oil, pitch, brandy, and gunpowder. The medieval city becomes a medieval death trap. Samuel Pepys, the famous diarist, watches from the Tower of London. As his city transforms into something from a nightmare, he writes that pigeons won't leave their burning nests, their wings catching fire as they hover over their homes. Even the animals sense this isn't just another fire. It's the end of everything they've known. London's firefighting technology, leather buckets and fire squirts, primitive water guns that could barely reach a second-story window. Against a firestorm that's creating its own weather system, these tools are about as useful as bringing a fork to a sword fight. The wealthy begin their great escape westward. But the poor? They have nowhere to run except the open fields of Moorfields and Finsbury. 100,000 people, nearly half of London's population, become homeless refugees in their own city. Here's what makes this fire different from others. The wind. North Sea gales turn the flames into a monster that feeds on everything wooden. And in 1666, everything is wooden. Even the water pipes are made of wood. So as the fire spreads, London's ability to fight it literally burns away. By Tuesday, desperate authorities resort to gunpowder. They're blowing up entire streets to create gaps the fire can't cross. The cure becomes almost as destructive as the disease. London is literally destroying itself to save itself. Section 3. Heroes, Villains, and Scapegoats. In every disaster, we search for someone to blame. And London in 1666 finds its perfect scapegoat. Anyone foreign. Meet Robert Hubert, a French watchmaker with mental disabilities. He confesses to starting the fire. Though he wasn't even in London when it began, his confession is clearly false, but London needs someone to punish. Hubert is hanged, becoming history's most innocent guilty man. Meanwhile, the real heroes emerge from unexpected places. He transitioned with hopeful energy. The Duke of York, the king's brother, personally leads firefighting effort. King Charles II himself works alongside common laborers, his royal hands blistered from wielding a firehook. And then there's Christopher Wren. Before the ashes cool, this scientist-turned-architect is already sketching plans for a new London. While others see destruction, Wren sees possibility. He will design not just buildings, but hope itself made of stone and brick. But perhaps the strangest hero is the fire itself. Because while it destroys medieval London, it also destroys something else. The plague. The Great Plague of 1665 had killed 100,000 Londoners. The Great Fire of 1666, while terrible, may have saved countless more lives by burning away the conditions that bred disease. Section 4. Rising from the Ashes. When the flames finally die after 4 days, London is unrecognizable. 87 churches destroyed, 13,000 houses gone. The medieval city that had grown organically over centuries erased in less than a week. But here's where the story becomes beautiful. London doesn't just rebuild, it transforms. New building codes require brick and stone instead of wood. Streets are widened, building heights are regulated. London creates the world's first comprehensive fire safety laws. The medieval death trap becomes a modern city. Wren's 52 churches rise like prayers made manifest in stone. St. Paul's Cathedral becomes his masterpiece, its dome visible from miles away. A symbol that London will never again hide in shadows. The fire also births modern insurance. Property owners finally understand they need protection against catastrophe. Private fire brigades emerge, complete with their own branded fire marks. If you didn't pay your premium, they'd watch your house burn and protect only your paying neighbor. Capitalism at its most literally cutthroat. London's £10 million disaster, equivalent to billions today, becomes history's most expensive lesson in urban planning, but it's a lesson that saves countless lives in centuries to come. Section 5. Lessons that echo through time. The Great Fire didn't just change London, it changed how humanity thinks about cities. From Chicago's flames in 1871 to San Francisco's earthquake fires in 1906. London's hard-learned lessons traveled across oceans and centuries. But here's what's fascinating about human nature. We keep making the same mistakes. Modern London still burns. The Grenfell Tower tragedy in 2017 killed 72 people, proving that even today, the poor still suffer most when cities catch fire. Samuel Pepys would recognize our modern disaster. The same class divisions, the same desperate escapes, the same search for someone to blame. Technology changes, but human nature? That burns just as bright in 2024 as it did in 1666. Yet London's fire also teaches us about resilience. How a city can die and be reborn stronger. How disaster can become opportunity if we're brave enough to rebuild differently. London didn't just replace what burned, it reimagined what a city could be. Today, as climate change brings new fires to our world, as rising seas threaten coastal cities, as pandemics test our urban systems, maybe we need London's 1666 spirit, the courage to let old ways burn so new solutions can rise. The Great Fire of London reminds us that our greatest disasters can become our greatest transformations. One baker's careless ember destroyed medieval London, but gave birth to modern London. Today, as we face our own urban challenges, from climate change to housing crises, maybe we can learn something from London's ashes. Sometimes we need to let old systems burn away to build something better. What fires are burning in your own life that might clear the ground for something beautiful? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey through London's most transformative week, subscribe for more stories where history meets human drama. Because the past isn't just what happened, it's what we learn from what happened. And London's story is far from over.